From a vehicle flagged by police in connection with a previous felony hit and run, to a wild police chase as the driver blasts through red lights and passes cars along the shoulder. From dangerous roundabouts in residential areas to a reckless dash straight through an active construction zone, and many more incidents to come. On the evening of the 2nd of October 2025, during rush hour traffic, law enforcement in Little Rock, Arkansas received reports of a Dodge Charger suddenly making a U-turn on an interstate entrance ramp. What began as a reckless traffic violation quickly turned into a dangerous pursuit situation that could have endangered dozens of drivers. Making a sudden U-turn on a highway entrance often signals something deeper psychologically, panic and an instinct to escape consequences. When drivers realize police may stop them, some react impulsively. For officers, this moment is critical. They must quickly capture the vehicle description and direction before the suspect disappears.
Continuous mark on the roadside. He's going east on Rocky Town. He's not Rocky Town back to the market.
When the Charger leaves the highway and enters a residential area, police tactics immediately shift. In neighborhoods with homes and pedestrians, officers often reduce aggressive pursuit and rely more on radio coordination. The goal isn't catching the suspect fastest, it's minimizing danger to the public.
We're on Brookhaven Drive now. He's just off into a neighborhood. I've lost sight of it. He's possibly gotten back out onto Markham. Not sure where he's at. Yeah, 10-4. He came up behind me on 630 at 105, and I hit my brakes and went to the far right shoulder, and he made a U-turn on the interstate, went westbound on the eastbound on-ramp from Barrow. I have no 28 on it. It appeared to be like a 2014 model style Charger with the square taillights. 46 Rock. You can clear the net. I've lost sight of it. Issue an OCA. Notify LRPD of the vehicle, please.
Losing visual contact with a suspect vehicle for a short time is actually common in real pursuits, but officers still hold an advantage once they have the license plate and vehicle description. Many suspects believe they've escaped, yet that false confidence often leads them back into areas where officers can locate them again. As the suspect is taken into custody, officers repeatedly command him to show his hands and keep his position. This is a standard control procedure. During the first moments of a detention, officers always assume the suspect could be armed or attempt to fight back.
Stop. Give us your name.
The suspect begins shouting and denying wrongdoing. This reflects a common psychological stage known as immediate denial. After a high adrenaline pursuit, many suspects are still in fight or flight mode, reacting emotionally rather than thinking rationally about the situation.
I got it. I gotta go. Get in the car. Get in the car. Get in the car. Bitch. Hey, take photos. I need my phone.
When Willie begins shouting extreme statements like, "I'm ready to die," officers recognize this as a sign of heightened emotional stress. In these situations, trained officers try to lower tension by speaking calmly and avoiding confrontation, allowing the suspect's emotional state to gradually de-escalate.
Hey, watch out, Cass.
His sarcastic remarks and careless attitude may seem defiant, but psychologically, it's often an attempt to regain control after losing power in the situation. Experienced officers avoid reacting emotionally. Maintaining professionalism prevents the conversation from turning into a personal conflict.
Look, I didn't tear shit else up. Should have broke some more stuff in here. Y'all got the money to go and replace it. You'll be alright. We'll be fixing it.
.46 on north.
Go ahead at 46.
We make note that I've got damage to the interior of my unit. Okay. Why'd you make a U-turn on the interstate, man?
An interesting detail emerges when officers link this incident to a previous attempt to evade police days earlier. Law enforcement often shares information between shifts and departments. Patterns like this help establish repeated behavior, which can influence how prosecutors pursue charges.
And when Loftus drove down the road to make another U-turn, the car just gone. So
I'll go to Harps tomorrow and try to get him on camera.
Okay.
Do they have full hubcaps or small? Because I have small hubcaps. There's multiple of them.
We got your license plate. That's identifying enough for your car and the description of your car that this trooper got the other night on Tuesday.
You can get a video of it with the wig-wags on and send it to me so I can type something up.
Where's the wig-wags at on your car? How do they work? Where's the button at on them? You know what I'm talking about.
I don't even know what that is.
The flashing lights. How do you turn those on?
No, they took that out. They yanked all this stuff and I bought the car.
He won't tell me where they are.
I don't have that. I don't know what that is.
Oh, he had them on when he was driving?
He was charged with reckless driving, speeding more than 15 miles per hour over the limit, driving the wrong way, improper passing, fleeing law enforcement, resisting arrest, and criminal property damage. These offenses can carry significant fines, possible jail time, and suspension or revocation of driving privileges under state law. On the 16th of April 2023, in Bloomington, Minnesota, near the Mall of America, local law enforcement responded to reports of a hit-and-run crash. A green Mazda was quickly identified as the suspect vehicle. Once the driver realized police had spotted him, he chose to flee, triggering a short but tense pursuit involving multiple patrol units.
Trying to stop him, he's in transit here.
The moment the driver realizes he's been noticed, panic kicks in. He abruptly changes lanes and accelerates. This is a common psychological reaction among fleeing suspects. Decisions are made in seconds. For officers, this early stage is critical. They must quickly assess traffic risks before committing to a closer pursuit.
He's going out the wrong way here. On 24th. Right a bit.
Patrol units begin coordinating to control the suspect's escape routes. In urban pursuits, the goal isn't always speed, it's containment. Continuous radio communication allows officers to position vehicles strategically, gradually tightening the perimeter and reducing the suspect's available options.
Walk to your left. Face the car, keep your hands up. Keep walking left. Keep walking your
Passenger, get your f***ing hands up!
Alright, keep coming backwards to the sound of my voice.
372, I'm pulling up to 4800 stop.
Keep coming back. Just you in the car, miss?
Copy.
Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Step behind me. Step behind me. Go over there.
Officers instruct the passenger to exit first. This is a standard tactic separating individuals from the vehicle. One at a time reduces the risk of weapons and prevents suspects from coordinating actions. Commands to turn away, walk backward, and keep hands raised allow officers to monitor the most critical threat, the hands.
He can't. His door's blocked. He's got to come out driver's side.
You're in type 1.
Maybe not.
Hands up! Hands up! Keep your hands up! Hands up! Face away from me! Face away from me! Hands up! Face away from me! Walk backwards! Hands up!
Get out of your pocket, dude.
All the way in the air! Keep coming! Keep coming! Keep coming! Step to your left!
Doesn't know that TD has been called.
With both occupants detained, officers confirm 2 suspects in custody and prepare to search the vehicle. At this stage, the psychological pressure shifts to the suspects. Many begin talking, sometimes attempting to justify their actions, sometimes hoping to reduce their level of responsibility.
Oh my God.
One suspect claims they were simply collecting used tires for recycling in a dealership parking lot. Explanations like this are common after arrests. However, investigators rely on dashcam footage, witness accounts, and movement data to verify what actually happened.
Brought us in. Detective called the place the next day and they said, "Yup, they're allowed to be here." What the f***, dude? Wow, this ought to be fun. I was wearing the same clothes too because everything I own is in my truck impounded when it was in a parking spot.
Dashcam footage later reveals a critical detail. The 2 occupants switched seats while the vehicle was still moving. This is a desperate tactic intended to confuse investigators about who was driving. But with multiple camera angles and recorded pursuit footage, such attempts are rarely successful. Was identified as Jeremy John Loyal Hofferber, a Minnesota resident. He was charged with fleeing law enforcement in a motor vehicle, a felony offense. Hofferber ultimately received 17 months in prison and 3 years of probation, later violating probation and serving an additional 30 days in jail. The passenger, Hannah Killian, pleaded guilty to careless driving and was sentenced to 1 year of supervised probation with credit for time already served after her arrest. The incident began near Canal Road by the Gorilla Glue facility in Ohio, when a local patrol unit spotted a blue Hyundai Sonata behaving suspiciously in a parking lot. When the officer attempted a routine traffic stop, the vehicle suddenly accelerated and fled. What began as a simple stop quickly escalated into a multi-agency pursuit involving local patrol units and aerial support monitoring traffic conditions. In the opening moments, officers attempt a standard traffic stop procedure, the driver's refusal to comply, and immediate acceleration.
Stop.
When the fleeing vehicle collides with a patrol car and continues driving, the situation escalates instantly. At that point, this is no longer a routine stop. Once a vehicle is used aggressively against officers, the pursuit shifts toward containment and risk management, prioritizing public safety over simple apprehension.
Stop. Stop the car. Roll down the window and stop the car. You are being stopped. Stop the car. Okay, well, you gotta wait for a second. Turn the car off. Turn the car off. Stop moving. No, stop moving. We're same 22. They just struck my vehicle and they're fleeing now.
Over the radio, the officer provides a clear description of the occupants: a black female driver and a white male passenger. These details allow units ahead to prepare for possible interception. In urban pursuits, constant communication between units can be more important than speed itself.
It's a blue Hyundai Sonata. It's occupied and operated by a black female, white male in the passenger seat. We're gonna be headed eastbound onto Kimber.
Here by Enterprise. Yield, they're coming our way. On 6 here.
Cruiser speeds are 65, continuing and approaching the cellar.
The Hyundai begins moving through several roads, accelerating to roughly 80 miles per hour. From a suspect's perspective, high speed may feel like a way to create distance. But for police, the focus is on maintaining visual contact and coordinating units, not simply racing after the vehicle.
You said eastbound still, correct?
Yup.
Alright, I'm coming up on Reading.
22, we're still eastbound, approaching Reading. Eastbound on Kimber, approaching Reading, speeds are 80.
Hold down, stop 6.
As the vehicle turns onto Enterprise Road, officers begin shaping a containment strategy. In many pursuits, police attempt to influence the suspect's route, guiding them, intentionally or not, toward areas with fewer exits where coordinated units can prepare a safer intervention.
We're going to get a tag on it. The boss or Zach.
Henry Charles Nora 6547. It's fictitious. It's on a blue Hyundai. It returns to a Chevy.
I'm behind you, Howell. Where are you at?
We're continuing. She's about to dead end here on Enterprise. We're continuing on Enterprise. They're about to dead end out here at 11915 Enterprise, I believe.
The Hyundai cuts through several industrial parking lots in an attempt to lose the patrol cars. This tactic is common among fleeing drivers because such areas often have multiple access points. However, with coordinated radio communication and multiple units, officers can quickly reposition and continue the pursuit.
QTOL products, KULTOL, continuing in the direction of Marcel. They just ran off the road, going into the parking lot. Stand by.
The situation becomes even more dangerous when the suspect vehicle nearly strikes another officer in a parking area. At moments like this, the priority shifts to protecting officers and bystanders. Pursuing units may adjust their spacing to reduce the chance of unnecessary collisions.
Still going back into the parking lot of QTOL, almost hit another officer. Into QTOL, we're going back that way.
Somebody can get stick by Enterprise.
As the vehicle returns toward major roadways, the pursuit continues with several units following. A common tactic at this stage is extending the pursuit long enough for other officers to prepare interception tools or roadblocks ahead. Meanwhile, psychological pressure on the suspect continues to build.
Okay, where are you at?
Information from assisting units and traffic monitoring becomes increasingly important. When pursuits stretch over time and distance, coordination across jurisdictions helps officers predict where the suspect might head next, allowing them to position resources rather than simply reacting turn by turn.
Zach, just if I can't get anything out on county, I'm not getting any radio traffic.
At this point, officers ahead begin preparing spike strips, a device designed to safely deflate a vehicle's tires. This tactic aims to end a pursuit without forcing a dangerous high-speed collision. For the suspect, it often signals that their available escape routes are rapidly disappearing.
Back off up there. We need to get this thing running. We're gonna get him in the stick.
Back off, back off.
Spike strips are deployed several times, and eventually one of the attempts successfully punctures at least one tire. Even with the damage, the driver continues moving, but the vehicle's control and stability begin to deteriorate. This is typically the moment when officers know the pursuit is nearing its end.
Sam 22, they tried 6 and the 50/8 sticks missed. We are continuing eastbound.
Officers observe that the vehicle is losing fluid and mechanical performance. When a suspect vehicle begins failing mechanically, units prepare for the final phase, possibly chasing suspects on foot if they abandon the car. The strategy now transitions from vehicle pursuit to direct apprehension.
Zach, I'll go for driver, you go for passenger if they split, if you're good with that.
They just lost their whole fire here. Their whole fire going to be fresh down. Okay, that's clear.
I got the driver, I got the driver, I got the driver. Get up, Bill!
The pursuit ends when officers successfully apprehend the driver and occupants after the Hyundai becomes unable to continue. The driver was identified as Kayla Brown, a resident of Hamilton County, Ohio. She was charged with fleeing law enforcement, assault involving a police vehicle, and reckless driving. According to court records, Brown received over 1 year in prison followed by probation, while Turner received a suspended sentence with supervised probation after entering a plea.
To no avail.
From the very beginning, the situation carries a unique level of danger. Unlike a normal car pursuit, a 40,000-pound bus has enormous momentum. Once the driver decides to flee, officers understand they are no longer simply chasing a suspect, they are trying to control a massive moving object capable of causing serious destruction. Troopers attempt several times to block the front of the bus but fail. With a vehicle this large, traditional boxing-in tactics are extremely risky. Even a slight steering correction by the driver could push a patrol car aside. As a result, officers keep distance and focus on controlling the situation rather than forcing contact.
We're out front of the zone and hit Bethany and 51. Alright, hey, go into that clear, okay? Black man right here.
To no avail.
When the bus crosses railroad tracks, the pursuit becomes even more dangerous. Intersections like this dramatically increase the risk of catastrophic collisions. For the troopers, the mission shifts beyond arrest. Now it's about preventing a potential disaster involving trains, vehicles, and a runaway bus.
We're still about to be around there to the rail yard.
We're continuing that westbound to the rail yard.
Hey, y'all got locked in?
The bus continues making aggressive turns and crossing additional tracks. Sudden movements from a vehicle this size often reflect a driver under intense psychological pressure. As the suspect's escape strategy becomes increasingly chaotic, officers begin considering faster ways to bring the pursuit to an end. One trooper ultimately decides to use firearm force against the bus's tires. This is not a common tactic, but in this situation, an empty bus with extreme mass, it may be the safest option to slow the vehicle. 2 tires are hit, and the bus begins losing its ability to keep moving. Once the bus finally stops, the suspect has little choice but to surrender. In many pursuits like this, the psychological collapse happens quickly. Just minutes earlier, the driver believed the size of the vehicle might help him escape, but now every option has disappeared.
Hey, let me see your hands now! Put them on your head!
The suspect was identified as Elvin Richard, age 29, a resident of Arkansas. He faced charges including fleeing from law enforcement, commercial theft, possession of stolen property, and criminal mischief for property damage. According to court records, Richard faced a potential prison sentence along with extended probation and was also held responsible for financial restitution related to the stolen bus and resulting damages. On April 2022, officers from the Milwaukee Police Department on routine patrol spotted a Chevy pickup truck with someone inside that matched the description of a vehicle connected to a recent homicide investigation. When officers attempted to approach, the driver immediately fled, triggering a high-speed pursuit.
In pursuit of a two-tone S10, wanted for homicide, eastbound Ashland 11th. It matches the description of a homicide vehicle, freshly painted. It's going to be black in color in the front, silver in the back, 2 occupants, tinted windows. Who's behind us? 2 occupants.
From the very beginning, the driver chose to accelerate instead of stopping. This decision is common when suspects believe they may face serious charges. Psychologically, it becomes a run first, think later reaction, where the suspect accepts extreme risks just to gain a few more minutes of freedom.
They're doing a lot of further movement in the center console, reaching down and lower the seats from Charlie Arnold or something.
As the truck speeds through Milwaukee streets, officers begin coordinating over the radio to track its movement. In high-speed pursuits, constant communication prevents too many patrol units from crowding the suspect vehicle, which could actually increase the danger for other drivers on the road.
Approaching the 35th Street by Chevy S10, silver and black. Please notify 3 just in case we get off on any close exit. Do you want us to vehicle homicide. Speeds are approximately 85 miles per hour.
At this point, speeds climb to around 85 miles per hour, extremely dangerous in an urban area. For the suspect, high speed may feel like control or escape. For officers, however, this becomes a constant risk assessment. Does the danger of the pursuit outweigh the benefit of immediate capture?
Traffic is medium. Speeds are approximately 80. Vehicle is wanted in a vehicle homicide. Tone Chevy S10 pickup truck occupied 2 times. It's in lane number 1.
Clear it. Clear.
Vehicle's going to be going westbound on Wisconsin.
Continuing west on Wisconsin.
As the suspect moves onto larger roadways, police shift into a controlled pursuit strategy. Officers maintain enough distance to avoid pushing the driver into even riskier behavior, yet stay close enough to maintain visual contact. This balance reflects a key principle: control through patience.
Approaching 35.
Eastbound, pages 160, traffic light. Traffic here, but traffic is still light.
At this stage, the suspect continues driving aggressively, showing a mindset of total commitment to escape. But the longer a pursuit lasts, the more pressure builds. Roads change, traffic increases, and even a small mistake behind the wheel can end the chase instantly.
40 miles an hour, going west. On 94, traffic is medium, streets are dry. Speeds are 90 miles an hour, west. Speeds are 98, traffic is medium, it's picking up a little bit here.
As the vehicle reaches highway speeds, officers begin considering options like remote monitoring or deploying stopping tactics if conditions allow. These decisions must be made quickly and carefully, because the wrong timing could make an already dangerous situation even worse. One factor viewers rarely notice is driver fatigue during a long pursuit. After several minutes of intense stress, a suspect's reaction time and judgment begin to decline. This is often when pursuits end not through force, but through vehicle failure or driver error.
One more?
Records later showed the truck reached speeds close to 120 miles per hour. At that speed, even a slight steering mistake can lead to a catastrophic crash. For this reason, officers continue their strategy of controlled tracking while waiting for a safe opportunity to stop the vehicle.
Continuing westbound, that's 108. Like the speed 30 miles an hour, traffic is getting pretty heavy right here. I'm gonna probably walk through a sheriff's department, see if they can get some spikes off the pass and run.
So we got some backup up there.
11 dispatch, if radio contact, I will take responsibility for the chase. I'm trailing it.
Thank you. Wrong direction.
When the truck begins slowing down, it often indicates a mechanical problem with the vehicle. In many pursuits, a damaged tire or mechanical failure ends the suspect's advantage. Without speed, the driver loses the only tool that kept them ahead of police.
There's a couple squads ahead of us, further south.
Pass them out, 5-6. Yeah, we're primary. Spike. Good spike, left tire, rear.
Vehicle-related homicide, no place occupants. Chevy S10 pickup truck. Again, still southbound. Speed is approximately 102. Southbound on I-43.
Ready for the flip, set.
Approaching Highway 164.
More sticks coming.
Just as expected, the vehicle begins losing control after a problem with the front right tire. As the truck slows, officers carefully close the distance while maintaining safe positioning. The situation now shifts from high-speed pursuit to controlled arrest operations.
St. Ben's Road exit, I-43 southbound.
Once the vehicle stops near an exit, officers issue commands for the driver to raise his hands, turn around, and walk backward. This method ensures the suspect cannot suddenly attack or flee. In serious cases like homicide investigations, officers assume the suspect could be armed.
County Sheriff is 3 minutes out. Did you hear me?
Keep your hand away from the waist. Keep your hand up. Stop.
Ordering subjects outside of the vehicle.
The moment the suspect exits, the vehicle is often the most tense. Officers watch every movement carefully, especially the hands. Only when the suspect fully complies do they move in to secure him. This patience helps avoid the need to use force unnecessarily.
I believe it's the driver at the time. You got
He's walking. Anybody else? Welcome back.
After the arrest, officers confirm the suspect is only 19 years old. Remarkably, despite the extremely high speeds during the pursuit, no one was injured, and officers did not need to use force. This reflects strong tactical discipline from the pursuing units.
He's scaring me right here.
Well, I mean, you can't flee like that.
I know I'm saying, like, I'm not trying to go nowhere. I'm
No, you're fine. It's just a lot of attention.
I'm
That's it.
calm right here. I know I just did what I just did.
My name's
like,
Ian.
but I'm not.
What's your name?
Resisting y'all like physically or none
You're
of that.
okay. What's your name?
Thomas Poe, TH.
Once we get up secure,
I'm
let's
in.
get at least let's get over so we can at least get one lane.
You got it, boss.
You're good, man. You're good.
Well, we can pull this car to the side. Whose car is this? Policing spot? You're good. You're good.
According to court records, the suspect Juan Carlos Alvarez, 19, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, faced multiple charges including hit and run causing serious injury or death, 2 counts of second-degree recklessly endangering safety, fleeing law enforcement, and possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. Under a plea agreement, Alvarez posted $40,000 cash bail and received a sentence of 6 years and 3 months minimum, up to 11 years and 3 months in prison, with about 8 months credit for time already served before sentencing.